mother, your masi, your sister, two of the females in the first degree family, they have breast cancer, they should definitely get genetic screening done. And secondly, if breast cancer is being detected at an early age, that is at the age less than say 50 years, any patient who has who's been detected, that patient should undergo genetic testing. And if that genetic test comes out positive in the index patient, then all the first degree females, they need to get the genetic testing done to detect if they also have any genetic predisposition. One final message, building up on what Mr. Bhardwaj said, there is a difference between screening and diagnosis. Screening is for everyone, all the masses. Self breast examination at the age 20, clinical breast examination at the age 30, and mammogram at the age 40 for any normal female. Any female at high risk, that means having a family history, screening mammography should be started at an early age of, let's say, 30 and 35. Mammogram once a year, if not possible, at least every 2 years should be done till the age of 65, 70 years once you've passed that age group. And, one last thing, that for tier 2, tier 3 cities, and the rural population who might be listening to us, if it is not possible to go and get a screening done, at least stick to self-breast examination. And we are coming up with a lot of mobile mammogram vans, mobile mammogram programs. So they are being sent to the rural areas and tier 2 cities. Make most of it. Take care of your health.
Make the most of it. Don't look for excuses. Your health comes first.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bhatia, Mr. Bhardwaj, for joining us. Take this conversation, very important conversation, forward and really breaking down the story on how awareness is the only solution and the only need of the hour. With that, we head into a very short break. Coming up next, we'll be going across to our person of interest, Kinnari Jain. She's influencing mindset by highlighting the craftsmanship behind Indian fabrics and celebrating artisans who make these fabrics and garments. We'll be going across to her in just a bit. Be right back.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
While the phase 2 of the special intensive exercise is set to be conducted across 12 states, it is one state in particular which everyone is focused on, Bengal. With the government already announcing its plans to oppose the exercise, the key question is, will the EC be able to carry out the SIR effectively in Bengal? Our reporter Kamalika Sengupta travelled to North 24 Parganas, Bengal's largest district, one that shares a nearly 230-kilometer long international border, to find out the situation and sentiment on the ground. Let's take a look.
Election Commission has conducted mapping before implementation of SIR, and in that mapping certain alarming data have come out. Mapping means a comparison between 2003 voters list after revision and 2025. This shows in North 24 Pargana, in West Bardhaman, in Kuch Bihar is also a border district, where the mapping rate is North 24 Pargana 41%, Kuch Bihar 46%, and West Bardhaman below 40%, which is very much scary, because here the question arises that if 41% of the name are matching, then more than 50% new voters have come.
The Election Commission faced stiff headwinds while conducting the SIR exercise in Bihar. From legal battles to political charge, the EC braved it all with the backing of an NDA government at the helm of affairs in the state. Bengal, however, is a different story.
Right now we are standing in Barashat subdivision, Kodombogachi area. Now this is one of the major part of North 24 Pargana. 33 constituencies are there. Here the mapping percentage has come 41%. That means more than 50% new voters have come in all these areas. This is one of the largest districts in West Bengal. And local people are saying off the camera, on camera, that a lot of people from the other side has come there and they have all Aadhaar card, voter card with them.
সূত্র ধরে ওপার বাংলা থেকে এখানে চলে আসছে, এসে জমি জায়গা কিনছে, কিনে তারা আইডেন্টি কার্ড, রেশন কার্ড, আধার কার্ড বানিয়ে নিচ্ছে। এবার দিনের পর দিন সব বাড়ছে, বাড়তে বাড়তে এখন এমন একটা জায়গায় এসে দাঁড়িয়েছে পা রাখার জায়গা নেই।
बहुत बाहर से आदमी आ चुका है, बांग्लादेश आदमी भर चुका है सगरे। घर बाड़ी सब यहाँ पर किया हुआ। हम लोग यहाँ 70 में आए, हम लोग बिहार घर है, 78 में आए हैं। अभी हम लोग को भी डर लगा हुआ है, क्या होगा। डर में तो है ही है, हम लोग को यहाँ पर सब कुछ है, डर में नहीं है।
यहाँ पर रोजी रोटी थोड़ा कम हो गया। पिछले बाहर का लोग बहुत यहाँ पर है, ज़्यादा करके जो मोहम्मदन लोग हैं ना, इस साइड पे वो जो मुल्ला पाड़ा, बंगाली में बोलते हैं मुल्ला पाड़ा, वो है। वहाँ पर बहुत मतलब बहुत बांग्लादेश से है। वो स्कूल पे ही मेरा वोट केंद्र है। मैं वहाँ पर वोट देने गया था तो मेरे पीछे जो लाइन है वहाँ पर मैंने 8-10 लोगों ऐसे देखा मोहम्मदन है। मेरे जो बूथ है वही बूथ पे, तो मैंने पूछा भाई तुम्हारा यहाँ पर तो वोट नहीं था। तो मैंने जब पूछा एक लोगों से, वो थोड़ा हड़बड़ा गया।
We have come in another side of Barashat Kodomogachi called Molla Pada. People from the other side, the other area, villages, they told that this is a Molla Pada where lot of people, they are coming, they are outsiders and they come from other places and stay here. That's the claim of some of the people of this region. We'll try to find out when people came here and how they are staying here.
As Bengal heads into crucial phase of voter revision, the biggest questions and concerns remain around the shifting demographics, the answer to which would not only shape the upcoming assembly polls but the political narrative in the times to come.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
While the phase 2 of the special intensive exercise is set to be conducted across 12 states, it is one state in particular which everyone is focused on, Bengal. With the government already announcing its plans to oppose the exercise, the key question is will the EC be able to carry out the SIR effectively in Bengal? Our reporter Kamalika Sengupta travelled to North 24 Parganas, Bengal's largest district, one that shares a nearly 230-kilometer long international.
From down south, where Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin will convene an all-party meeting on the 2nd of November to decide on the next course of action on phase 2 of the special intensive revision across 12 states, including poll-bound Tamil Nadu. Following the Election Commission's announcement on the beginning of the SIR, he held discussions with his alliance partners. In fact, M.K. Stalin has tweeted, and I quote, to carry out the special intensive revision just months before the election and especially during the monsoon months of November and December brings serious practical difficulties to conduct SIR in a haste.
Welcome back. As we continue to spotlight on Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we want to continue shedding light on the realities of diagnosis, the power of early detection and the advances in treatment, and also the ongoing commitment of patients and healthcare professionals alike working together towards better outcomes. Taking that conversation forward now with Dr. Ashok Vaid, Padma Shri awardee and chairman of Medical and Hemato-Oncology at Medanta, the Medicity. Good morning, Dr. Vaid. Thank you for being with us here on the Breakfast Club. This month overall spreads awareness around breast cancer, but in totality, this is a conversation we must have in every household, in every important event, gathering, platform. Tell us, Dr. Vaid, first up, since you have observed this story of change over the last few years in the Indian context, how are you looking at the progress science and technology has made in treating breast cancer?
Very good morning, and many thanks for having me on this program, very important program on breast cancer. So when we talk about the change could be discussed in certain aspects. Number one, the shift in the number of cases we are diagnosing. 20 years back, cervical cancer was number one amongst women. And everywhere, the cities, villages, everywhere. The major shift in the last 20-25 years is that breast cancer has become number 1 and cervical cancer has dropped to number 2. And the numbers are increasing. Also, a shift in the age at which we are diagnosing more younger patients. And then one can understand because there is a shift in the lifestyles, the economic pressures, more women are working, late marriages, late age at first pregnancy, no breastfeeding, so on and so forth. So that's one change, the numbers and the overall demographics. Number 2, the big change is the understanding about breast cancer by the medical science itself. Now we know breast cancer is not one disease. It's a disease, it's a group of diseases based on the biological characteristics a tumor cell carries and what the pathologist tells us after the analysis of these characteristics. And the pathologist would put these numbers into different categories, and the clinicians, a doctor like me in the clinic, would treat the patient based on the inputs one would get from the lab. And therefore, each patient would get a treatment which is based on the individual characteristics. It's a personalization of treatment, it's a individualization of treatment. That's number 1. And then what that individualization translates into or transcends into is we are using not more chemotherapies at the moment, but we are using chemotherapies along with more targeted therapies, more immunotherapies, and much more precise. So therefore, we are now almost in an era of precision medicine. I talked about individualization, of personalization, and then the last is the precision medicine. The third change is based on the biology of this disease. Imagine about 20-25 years back, most of the women with a small lump would go for surgery first, some treatment after, radiation, and would pop a pill for 5 to 10 years, 5-7 years. No more. As I said, based on these characteristics, we are treating a lot of women with chemotherapy, immunotherapy, and targeted drugs before surgery. I heard the conversation earlier that a lot of women can go for conservative surgery. That goes to say they don't have to remove the entire breast. So, and these therapies before surgery are helping us achieve that goal in a much more effective manner.
And how would you explain that story, Dr. Vaid? So how is conventional, traditional surgery, for instance, very different from these new age solutions, including chemotherapy? Because the sound of each of these, be it surgery, chemotherapy, at least to the patient, is very scary. A lot of fear comes with it.
It's a very, very pertinent question because it's a difficult diagnosis, changes one's life in a moment. And one would always want therapies which are more patient friendly, which don't give you side effects. Chemotherapy drugs have been in use for the last more than 50-60 years. And these drugs fight the cancer cells one-on-one. They go and track the cancer cells and kill those cancer cells. Because they are tracking these cells on the basis of certain characteristics which are shared by normal cells also. So there is an innocent bystander effect. Collateral damage on the body system, losing hair, low immunity, infections, mouth sores, diarrhea, feeling weak, feeling fatigued, so on and so forth, skin and nail changes. Though they revert, most of them would revert over a period of time. But who would like to go through that? Now, these targeted drugs, immunotherapies, and the other targeted therapies are actually harnessing, the immunotherapies are harnessing the body's immunity. The immunity goes to sleep in cancer, and that's one reason why cancer evolves and spreads. These drugs go and wake up the immune cells and tell the immune cells to go and fight the tumors. So it's not a one-on-one fight. It's a fight through the immune system in very simplistic words. And then therefore the collateral damage is not as much as would happen with chemotherapy for most of the patients.
But would the therapy or the treatment line not vary based on what story the patient is carrying, for instance? So what type of cancer is it? What stage is it?
Exactly. That's what I said, that we have understood the biology much better. And the expression of some of these markers on the cancer cells, which can be done in the lab, tell us what drugs to choose for an individual patient. So every patient will not get chemotherapy and immunotherapy. Someone may get immuno, someone would get targeted, someone may still get only chemotherapy, even today, because their tumor cells are not carrying those markers which make them eligible for taking immunotherapy or targeted drugs.
Okay, Dr. Vaid, very quickly, because we're running out of time, I do want to ask you what you touched upon right at the beginning. So lifestyle is a contributing factor. Heredity is another contributing factor. There are several such factors at play. In terms of priority or hierarchy, how would you place them? How much of a role do each of these factors play? To what extent should patients, those suspecting cancer, should watch out for these signs?
So one line, we still do not know the exact cause of breast cancer. So there are risk factors. But carrying those risk factors, a strong message which I would like to give to the women is not that if you carry the risk factor, you are going to get breast cancer. No, that's not the story. The risk factors include, of course, the hereditary, the bad gene, the BRCA gene, which can travel in families. Number one. Number two, as I enumerated, the late marriages, late pregnancy, no breastfeeding, because that leads to a longer estrogen exposure within the body. And the longer the estrogen exposure, the more the effect on the breast tissues, because breast tissues in women are more evolved, and then they are all the time dividing. These cells are dividing. And then the estrogen can have a bad effect on these cells. So the probability becomes higher. Being overweight. So optimize your weight. Now, the WHO has given an alert that 20% of the cancers are going to be associated with obesity only, lack of activity, overweight. So a strong message to everyone, stay fit, exercise. You would not only benefit from cancer, diabetes, cardiac, stroke, everything. Your joints and muscles would stay better. So there is a strong message in that. Don't use alcohol, don't use tobacco. And then whenever you are taking any hormone replacement pill, discuss with your doctor.
Yeah.
Not that they are bad, they are good for certain individuals. So there is nothing absolute bad and good. There are relatives, there are risks, and if you carry those risks, make your lifestyle better so that your exposure to estrogen is not high and you have a lesser chance of getting breast cancer.
Yeah, Dr. Vaid, every health professional we've spoken to on the Breakfast Club has had this one suggestion, be it your brain, be it your heart, be it your kidney, your lungs, or your breast for that matter, lifestyle holds the key to living a healthier and a longer life. Thank you so much, Dr. Vaid. Always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for joining us this morning. And now we return with our person of interest this morning. Fashion influencer Kinnari Jain made an impression at Paris Fashion Week by putting Indian textiles on an international runway without turning them into a costume. Her look paired a white shirt with a hand-embroidered skirt that carried fulkari and chikankari work. It was built over 2 weeks by 5 artisans from Lucknow, and it showed every bit of that precision. The outfit was part of her From Loom to Look series, where she highlights how traditional fabrics can find space in modern wardrobes. Kinnari's appearance stood out because it felt rooted. Before fashion came calling, she worked in tech with degrees in computer engineering and information systems. She spent years behind a laptop before deciding to use that precision, the very same precision, in styling instead of spreadsheets. Today, she's one of the few voices in fashion using social media to make style less about trends and more about self-expression. So let's quickly go over to her. Hi Kinnari, hope you're doing well.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing very well.
Lovely. Kinnari, I want to start with the 3 lovely looks being spoken of, not just because they were your debut looks at the Paris Fashion Week, but also because alongside with it, you carried Indian textiles to Paris. So tell us about those 3 looks, the Kerala sari, the fulkari skirt we saw, and lastly, the lovely brocade that we saw, Banarasi brocade blouse. Tell us about these 3 looks and the inspiration there.
So first of all, thank you so much for having me. The inspiration behind those looks was absolutely to take Indian textiles on a global platform. Through my page, The Pear Shape Stylist as well, I've been trying to provide as much information there is about Indian textiles to anyone who's following me. And I have around 70% followers from India and around 30% followers from across the world. So the objective is always to kind of bring as much information about these textiles on the platform, and also give information on how they can be incorporated in modern silhouettes, in modern styles, so that even the Gen Zs feel proud when they wear an Indian textile like a chikankari or a fulkari. So when I take an Indian textile to a Paris Fashion Week, that creates a statement, that creates an inclusive environment even with the youngsters, that they can carry an Indian textile with pride even in a Western country. So that was the whole vision around it.
Okay, do you in general also, Kinnari, see a shift in how Indian textiles being embraced, how one garment carries so much history of generations altogether, or do you think that sentiment somewhere is dialing down? What do you make of how designers, how stylists are embracing their own roots and history and culture?
Yes, I mean with machine-made fabrics coming in, I think there is a bit of a dip in fabrics being made by hand. Like fulkari is primarily made by hand. However, new technology is taking over. But as and when newer founders are coming into the system, I think they are taking up that initiative of giving the onus to the actual artisans, the original artisans, hiring them, going towards natural fabrics. So I have seen a shift in the modern day. However, there was definitely a dip because of mass production, mass supply and mass demand, where machine-made fabrics were more readily available, and the original artisans in, say, Punjab for fulkari or Lucknow for chikankari were seeing a decline in their own work. Yeah.
Okay. Kinnari, I want to understand a little bit about your journey, so it can also be as relatable, because we're seeing this whole era of people switching careers, swapping careers, and you seem to have a similar story there. So from a tech consultant to a product manager to now a fashion influencer and creator. How did that happen? How did the hopping happen for you?
So during my time in the US, I did my undergrad here in India, and I moved to the US for my master's in information systems. And while I was working in the US, I was there in the US for around 5 years. I was exposed to a lot of cultures, and during my time I realized that personal style had a big influence on society there, whether it be the whites there or Hispanics or gays. Everyone had their own personal style, and they would show their personality through personal style, and there was a lot of influence on personal style. So I took a lot of interest in personal style back there as well, and I was following a lot of Western creators as well in the field of personal style, and I started to read up a lot about it. But then I took a lot of interest in it, but I did not see any career opportunities as such. And then I decided to move back to India, started doing a job here as well. But then because of the boom of social media, I decided to start a page on Instagram around personal styling, and that picked up in around 3 to 4 months of into my page. So I think it is a bold decision to move back, but I see a lot of Indians now taking that initiative and moving back and thinking of starting something of their own.
Was there a specific time that you can recall when you realized that your Instagram has become a brand in itself? Because the days leading up to that moment, I'm sure, were very challenging, wherein you were also doing a lot of self-doubts, self-questioning, as is in the case of every bold decision.
Yes. So when I started my page, I was still doing my 9-to-5 job. I was working as a product manager at Meesho, and I was doing almost Instagram as a side hustle. But when the page grew to about 225k followers or 230k followers, I started seeing a lot of income coming from Instagram as well. A lot of brands started approaching me, and that's when I decided, and that's where my passion lay as well. That's when I decided I could switch my careers leave my 9 to 5 job like every other regular Indian would do, and then started doing this full time. But I probably saw growth in the page or the brand get established probably 1 year into starting the page.
And when did the thought of, let's say, starting a series called From Loom to Look happen? What was the thought there? Because you've spoken of some lovely Indian textile like the Gujarati, outfits. Why is it that they have mirrors on them? You've spoken of all of this. Why did you feel the need to educate people about why there was a certain thought that went into our clothes, our garments, years ago?
Yes, I feel when I started this particular series, I myself was in a dearth of knowledge about Indian textiles, and as I read up more on Indian textiles, I realized that every history, the history behind the Indian textiles was really impressive, because our culture is so old. Everything that grew in India grew out of a necessity, and not many Indians today even know about how that fabric came into being. So I thought there was a dearth of knowledge, and also I see new generation taking interest in Indian things which are rooted in India, and so there was also a gap and interest as well, which is why I thought it would be an interesting topic to take up.
Okay, lovely. And Kinnari, before we let you go, I must ask this. This is my favorite questions to all the creators out there who are doing well for themselves, which is, how do you deal with the pressure of staying relevant on social media?
I think you have to keep reinventing. When I started my page, I started with personal styling tips for the everyday to help women embrace their body as it is and style it in the best way possible to create aesthetic looks. That's how I started my page. Then I, as you said, grew into Loom to Look, where I started giving information about Indian textiles and how to style them in the current day. I also talk about Bollywood character styling and the psychology behind the personal stylists that work in the Bollywood industry. What do they think? How do they style their characters in movies? So I think you have to keep reinventing your style.
It's creating content round the clock. You got to keep going on. You got to keep at it. Okay, lovely. Thank you so much, Kinnari. It was wonderful having you on the Breakfast Club. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, with that, it's time for us to head into a very short break. Up next, we return with the review of Mercedes-Benz G-Class. Overdrive recently visited Austria, where they put the car through a series of tests at the G-Class Experience Center. We'll be right back with that special report.
Hello.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
From down south, where Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin will convene an all-party meeting on the 2nd of November to decide on the next course of action on Phase 2 of the Special Intensive Revision across 12 states, including poll-bound Tamil Nadu. Now, following the Election Commission's announcement on the beginning of the SIR, he held discussions with his alliance partners. In fact, M.K. Stalin has tweeted, and I quote, "To carry out the Special Intensive Revision just months before the election, and especially during the monsoon months of November and December, brings serious practical difficulties. To conduct SIR in a hasty and opaque manner is nothing but a conspiracy by the Election Commission to rob citizens of their rights and help the BJP," is the pitch that has come in from the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister and Chief of the DMK. I'm joined by my colleague Purnima Murli on the broadcast. So Purnima, what is the aim of this all-party meeting? Clearly, it seems that given the fact that the DMK and its allies are the power players in Tamil Nadu politics, this will be to impress upon other parties like the BJP that this entire special intensive revision exercise is unacceptable, and that the Chief Minister will get that platform to make those claims right in front of the BJP?
Well, since yesterday the DMK has been raising the SIR issue. In fact, yesterday also in a statement, DMK President MK Stalin had alleged that it's the BJP AI.
Welcome back. The Mercedes-Benz G-Class has been around since 1979 and remains one of the most recognizable off-road vehicles in the world. The Overdrive team recently visited Graz, Austria, where the G-Class is built to experience its capabilities firsthand. From steep climbs to water crossings, they put it through a series of tests at the G-Class Experience Center. Here's the Overdrive verdict.
So the drive has started, guys, and most of us are driving various versions of GL or GLCs, GLS, and we'll see what kind of beautiful locations we go through, drive through, and how is the drive. Let's start. So this is the GLS we are driving right now, the GLS 450D 4MATIC. And what are the other cars available right now?
Why this 400 plus kilometer drive, you may ask? Well, it's special because this convoy of GLSs, A's and C's is heading towards Graz to experience the OG in its natural habitat.
So obviously there is a straight route between Munich and Graz, but we took a detour, or we took one extended route so that we could enjoy the hilly terrain and we could also experience the AQI 1 or 2 air. Yes, saw it on our phones. The AQI at one of the pit stops, it was showing 1. Just imagine. And for a person living in the Delhi NCR region, this figure is unbelievable. So we drove GLC and GLS on these twisties, and the road filled with corners, hilly areas, and both of them performed really nice. They were composed throughout the cuts and corners and twisties, the acceleration, the braking, and overall smoothness. There's one thing which I really wanted to share with you about the ADAS functionalities, because this definitely has some advanced feature. One was the overtake assist, which I felt, initially when it was suggesting, looking at the road, the speed limits and empty space on the left, it suggested me to take or nudged me. I could feel that on the steering wheel that it nudged me towards overtake, and first 2 or 3 times I didn't respond to it, and I let it go. I just followed the car in front of me. But then I started trusting it, and a couple of turns or overtakes I let it do on its own, and it was impressive. Only thing which I tested or checked, but eventually I intervened, was the turns at T-points and the roundabouts. We are at this G-Class Experience Center, Graz, Austria, where we're going to experience and test the G-Wagons in its natural habitat, I would say.
We were told that this experience is all about us testing the G's, but something told me that it is going to be the opposite. These cars will test us, our caliber, skill and nerves. And I was right. The 100% gradients, 35-degree side slopes, water crossings and rocky climbs, designed to check articulation, traction, water weighting and stability, showed us the reality behind the legend of G.
65, maximum 70. Let's go. Well done.
Okay.
Okay, then everybody come back around here and join me underneath the hangar, please.
now the brake test. Let's go. So full acceleration. We reach that yellow and orange cone. Full power on the brake pedal. Hazard light goes on. Brake light obviously goes on. Yes, that's what I was waiting for. The gold star has come. Our instructor Tom is giving us stars on the precise performance.
Brought to you by. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
From down south, where Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin will